How's it going, Starseekers? My name's Gotcake, and in this review we're going to be taking a look at a game called Ubermosh Santicide, the 6th volume in the Ubermosh series from solo developer Walter Machado. Now the game once again sees you taken to the arena for some ultra fast paced twin stick shooter brawler action as you try to survive a non-stop onslaught of enemies for 90 seconds. So I've previously covered several of Machado's other games on the Switch, including two other Ubermosh games, those being Ubermosh Black and Ubermosh Omega, so I jumped at the chance to cover this one. Hitting the main menu of the game we get the usual grungy Machado art style, including our protagonist, the Saint, who's looking pretty tasty with a collection of swords and guns. Now as usual we don't get any options settings, but around the edges of the screen we get a few gameplay options which I'll get to shortly. But I'll first explain the general gameplay dynamics of Ubermosh to those unfamiliar with them. Now at its core, gameplay in Ubermosh is very basic. We're dropped into an arena and depending on the mode selected, enemies will begin to flood the screen at different rates. The game features standard twin stick shooter controls with our left thumbstick moving us whilst the right is used to aim, and every class apart from the gunner begins with a sword which can be swung with L or ZL. Now this can be used to kill enemies, but more importantly to deflect the bullets back at them, which is a skill you're going to have to master to survive more than 10 seconds in the arena. Now we're also able to retrieve a gun from the corpses of dead enemies, unless you're playing as the ticide class, and we can fire our gun with the R and ZR buttons, so the aim of the game is to survive for 90 seconds, which sounds easy but is actually harder than petrified onyx shit. A timer in the top left counts down, and the smaller number below this is our kill count. The pink triangles represent our life, and if we're hit by an enemy or a projectile then we lose one triangle, and losing all triangles immediately ends the run. If however you survive the whole 90 seconds, then the run ends and you'll earn yourself a sweet gold icon next to the relevant badge on the main menu. Now there are a number of different abilities available to you to help you survive the arena. The first of these is the Mana Strike, which shoots deadly lightning bolts from your character, triggering every 5 seconds or so. Hitting ZL on the main menu also lets you choose the direction which Mana Strike is focused in. The next ability is called the Melter, a big neon pink laser which fires from your character every 40 seconds, though the ticide class has an affinity with this skill making it trigger more often. Hitting L on the main menu switches between the shield and the melter, and the shield triggers every 25 seconds or so, protecting you from projectiles for a few seconds whilst it's active. Now hitting R on the main menu switches between 3 different abilities. The first one is called Single Double Triple Strike. Now you usually begin with 1 sword and 1 gun, and this ability increases this to 2 swords and 2 guns after 30 seconds, and 3 after 60 seconds. Next you have Double Strike, which gives you double weapons from the start, but can't be upgraded to 3 weapons, and finally you have Single Strike Shredder, which provides only 1 sword and 1 gun, and instead you get shredders, pink spinning discs which fire out from your character every few seconds, killing everything in the path. The final ability available to all classes is called Brain Clap, which triggers after killing a specific number of enemies depending on the class that you're playing. This fires a blast of projectiles out from your character, which usually clears a screen of enemies in one go. So in addition to all of these abilities, you also have a bunch of different classes which promote different styles of play and offer different levels of challenge, and some of these are much more beginner friendly, though one thing that I will say is Ubermosh never becomes easy. Now each class affects the number of health triangles you have, how many kills are required to trigger Brain Clap, and several of them have modifiers unique to the class. The ticide class for instance, which I found the easiest class to play, isn't able to pick up guns and can only use the sword, but it does begin with 6 lives, takes only 40 kills to trigger Brain Clap, and the Melter triggers more often with this class. The gunner on the other hand I found very difficult, as it only begins with 2 lives and has no sword to deflect projectiles with, but instead its gun fires in full auto mode, so you only have to hold the R button instead of tapping it. The Warlock also starts with 2 lives but begins with a more powerful gun, and the Wraith class gets a stronger Mana Strike ability which fires more lightning bolts and lasts slightly longer. So if you've never played an Ubermosh game before, then I will say that of the 3 available on the Nintendo Switch, I think Ubermosh Santicide is by far the most accessible. In addition to having more abilities with every class, it also has 3 different game modes. Classic is the easiest of the 3 and you get a game which starts off slow and becomes progressively more difficult, whilst Santicide and hard boiled modes throw a ton of enemies at you right away. And if I'm honest, I couldn't really tell the difference between these 2 modes, but you aren't going to want to touch them until you've mastered classic mode and a few classes. The final difference, and what I would consider to have the biggest impact on the game's difficulty, is the arena. Unlike Ubermosh Omega and Ubermosh Black, the arena in Santicide does not have boundaries and instead loops infinitely, meaning you don't have to worry about losing a game by leaving the arena, and you're afforded much more room to move about and avoid enemy fire. So I really enjoyed Santicide, and after 3 Ubermosh games, I think I'm finally starting to develop a genuine appreciation for them. My first outing was Ubermosh Omega and it was a bit of an assault on the senses, but with Santicide, which features an almost identical soundtrack and visuals, I was fully prepared to be Ubermoshed and welcomed it with open arms. Now picking up the game will be a no-brainer for any Ubermosh fan, but for those less accustomed to the series, I definitely recommend giving it a go, and Santicide is the perfect game to lose your Ubermosh virginity to. Its frantic arcade action is unparalleled, and priced at under £1 or $1, it won't break the bank. So now we come to rating the game. Now I rate games between 1 and 5 stars, with a shovelware stamp of approval awarded to the worst games on the eShop. This rating is based on my own personal opinion on what a game has to offer in terms of gameplay and value for money to potential buyers, and for a rating I'd give Ubermosh Santicide 4 out of 5 stars. Santicide is by far the best Ubermosh I've played, not only due to it feeling more accessible, but also for its gameplay, which I found was more steadily paced, and the customization options with the game's abilities and classes I felt was more varied than the other Switch Ubermosh games. Now for some reason the game isn't yet available on the UK eShop, but hopefully it will be soon. You can however pick up the game from the US eShop for 99 cents. And the game's also available on Steam on its own or as part of the Ubermosh collection. How's it going guys? If you enjoyed this review, please show your appreciation by hitting that like button and let me know your thoughts and opinions on the game in the comment section below. As always, hit that subscribe button to support the channel and jump onto the Starseekers Discord server to say hello. For now though, I just want to say thanks once again for watching, and until next time, game on.